Alright guys, welcome back. In the last video we have talked about the theory part. So we set up a man-in-the-middle proxy and also talked about the IP table rule to forward these packages. But in this video we do now finally the hands-on exercise regarding to the theory part. Okay, let's go. Let's switch back to the Ubuntu VM and then, establish this man-in-the-middle setup and start intercepting or man-in-the-middling our smartphone. Let's go. Alright, so here we are at the Ubuntu VM. Now let's talk about the man-in-the-middle proxy first. In my case, I'm a fan of two. One is the BurpSuite, which we are going to download and install right now, and the other one is the man-in-the-middle proxy. Sometimes the BurpSuite has some, let's call it strange behavior. For example, there's a known issue regarding to TLS 1.3 on mobile smartphones. Also sometimes regarding to other HTTPS connections. So in case if we patch the certificate pinning, but the burp still struggles in intercepting the traffic, we might want to try out the other proxy, which is the man-in-the-middle proxy. Most of the time I'm using the BurpSuite and it's a really amazing tool. Therefore, let's download it. We open a new window and this time an incognito window, so we are absolutely stealth right now. If you write it correctly, then we also can see this PortSwigger link over here. So PortSwigger, these are the main authors of this amazing tool. So if we click on this link, we end up in using the burp proxy. But I guess we cannot download it over here. So no, that's just the documentation. We can find the download link within products. And there we can see 3 editions of the BurpSuite. This one, the BurpSuite Community Edition, this is the one we want to use because this is free and it's really amazing. It just does not have some features which are not required in this course over here. For example, the BurpSuite Professional has a scanner in there, which is also super handy if you perform a lot of web pen testing. So this scanner is automatically scanning some requests you put into this for SQL injections, local file inclusions, XML entity injections, the typical OWASP top 10. The BurpSuite Enterprise Edition, I'm not 100% sure about this one. I guess this is regarding to large scaling applications. So if you want to analyze tons of web applications, I guess the BurpSuite Enterprise Edition is the product to do this. But I guess that's regarding to companies. So if a company constantly wants to scan their assets, their web applications, then this might come handy. Nevertheless, what we are interested in is the BurpSuite Community Edition. That's free and it's a really amazing tool which gets all the stuff we need right now. So let's download this one over here. We select BurpSuite Community Edition, Linux 64, and we hit the download button. Now we can see the download might take a while and I will come back after this has been finished. So welcome back, we are close to finish this download and there we go. We also have this transition. This type of file can harm your computer. Why? Because it's a bash script and this can execute code. I trust PortSwigger, but nevertheless, let's have a look into this file before we run this. Therefore, let's say key, alright, and let's open a new terminal. Within downloads, we now take a look at this file. It might take a while until it has been loaded. There we go, because it's loading 200 MBs into Vim right now. So at the beginning, no, we are not at the beginning. I guess we are in the middle of this file. There we go. Now we are at the beginning. Yes, so here we can see some comments and some code. The structure looks identical regarding to the other versions I have already analyzed. But nevertheless, let's step through this a little bit. Of course, feel free to do a more deep analysis on this one if you do not trust it right now. That's never a bad idea. Alright, here we've got some search JRE. So, okay, it's using some Java runtime environment. Unpacking JRE. So it seems to maybe bring its own Java runtime. I'm not sure about this one. And here we have a bunch of binary code. So I guess that's the Java package in there. I mean, we can analyze this by extracting this one and have a look at the magic bytes, so the file header, to figure out what type this over here is. But for me right now it looks okay. So it looks exactly the same like the other versions. Maybe let's go to the end of this file. Okay, here we are now at the end and Alrighty. So after doing our very deep and trustworthy analysis on this one, let's run this file. We can see it's being gray or white, however you call this color. we need to make it executable, and therefore we do this with change mod, set the executable flag for this file over here. If we now do an ls again, there we go. We can now see the BurpSuite Community Edition has been set to green, so we can now run this bash script. And therefore I would suggest, let's simply run it. So it seems like I have corrupted this file while saving it. So if this also happens for you, then sorry for this one, I need to re-download it real quick. Alright, so I have downloaded it once again, I checked it, and now let's make it executable and run it. Okay, this time it seems to work right now. So by saving it with Vim, I maybe have inserted some characters, and yeah, this might have caused some trouble in this file over here. Okay, so here's the installation wizard. So the first one, okay, we get some information, so we only can click next. And now we can choose a location where we want to install this BurpSuite. In my case, I'm using the tools directory, this one over here. In tools, BurpSuite community. And then next, yes, it can create some symlinks. And now extracting those files. Then we've got this, this finished dialog. The BurpSuite has been already installed. There wasn't much of a visual task for this one, so let's have a look. Within tools, we've got now the BurpSuite community. And here we have now, yes, I guess that's in Java runtime environment. We have now the BurpSuite as a standalone jar, so we can run java-jar and then the BurpSuite. Or we can use this one over here. I guess that's also in bash script. ASCII, let's have a quick look. Yeah, it's also in bash script. So this one starts the burp. Alright, we can run this because we have trusted the installation part of this instance, therefore we can also now trust this file over here. Now we start the BurpSuite and we can see the pop-up here. And yeah, here we have now the entry point of the BurpSuite. Within the Community Edition, we unfortunately cannot select a project. So having a project is super nice. You can store all your requests and responses from your network requests over there. In our case, we can only work on a temporary project, which means if we close the burp, these files has been gone, but we can save them. So it's just a little bit more complicated, but we can also deal with this. It's not a required feature for us right now. Then we simply click next. Here we can, save and restore some configuration settings, but we haven't made any till yet. We hit next once again. And now the BurpSuite starts. There we go. That's the BurpSuite. And if you look at this for the first time, it's a little bit overwhelming. So we can easily fill a 2-day course just talking about the BurpSuite and all their feature in there. It's really ridiculous how much there is possible. But for now, let's keep it simple. This video is regarding to setting up or re-establishing our man-in-the-middle connection as fast as possible. Therefore, let's only focus on the main part. Nevertheless, let's talk about a little bit about these features. So on top over here, we've got live passive crawl from proxy. The traffic that passes through our burp will be automatically analyzed, but not regarding to vulnerabilities, just regarding to creating some sitemaps, structure about the application. Vulnerabilities are possible in the BurpSuite Pro version over here. So there's also some kind of scanner which scans those web service requests for SQL injections, OS command injections, XML entity injection, all the stuff. We do not need the Pro version in our course right now, therefore we can also simply, click this away. Now it's a little bit more clean. The most important window is the event log, because here we can see if something goes wrong in the BurpSuite, and this window helps us a lot in identifying the root cause of it. Alright, so now we want to set up our proxy. What do we need to do? So we can find this within proxy and within options over here. Here we have now the proxy listener, and the BurpSuite default runs on the local host, which is 127 this way, 001 port 8080. That's the default location for the BurpSuite to run. In our case right now, we need to change this because the interface where the BurpSuite should listen on should be our man-in-the-middle setup, so the USB to Ethernet adapter. And therefore we have to select the interface which is providing this adapter, or which is provided by this adapter, more this way. And we can select this simply by going into Edit, Specific Address, and here we can now select this interface, if we have enabled it. In my case, it's unplugged right now. So let's see how fast we can re-establish this man-in-the-middle connection. Therefore, let's make a test. So by performing in watch, we are executing this command every 2 seconds. So we can see it's executing ifconfig, and then within 2 seconds this window refreshes. By having this, we can now count how fast it takes to re-establish this connection. I bet it's under 5 seconds. So let's go in 3, 2, 1. There we go. 6. Okay, I guess it was a little bit more. Maybe 7 till 8 seconds. Okay, so you got me on this point. But we can see it was still super fast right now. Alright, now we've got this interface enabled. If we go back into our BurpSuite and hit Edit button again, we can see this interface now is selectable. So we click on specific address and we select our interface over here. Now we can see this one changes, and within the dashboard we've got this orange highlight. If we click on this one, we can see the BurpSuite is now listening on this one over here. Regarding to the timestamps, I mean, okay, this could be a little bit better, but yeah, we see it over here that the interface has been set up correctly. Alright, so the BurpSuite is running. Let's check if our IP forward has been enabled. We can do this by opening a new terminal, and then we print out the content of proc sys net IPv4 IP_forward. Yes, in my case, I've gotten one in there, which means IP forwarding has been enabled. If this is not the case for you, you need to enable it via the following command. So we can simply print out this number 1, like this one over here, and then we write it into this file. So this is how we can enable IP forward. I will show this to you. So let's say we write this 0 in there. This means IP forwarding will be disabled. If we now print out this content of this file, there we go. It has been disabled right now. So let's repeat it with 1. There we go. It has been enabled back again. Okay, so second part has been also finished. The IP forwarding has been enabled. This means these packages can be forwarded from one interface to the other. Alrighty, so next we connect our smartphone, this one over here, to our access point that we have successfully established our man-in-the-middle connection. So we can do this if we close it over here and then we use screen copy. There we have the screen, and we can see it has been already connected, but let's make sure that it's connected to the correct Wi-Fi, because sometimes it's connecting to your home Wi-Fi if you have inserted the credentials for this one, and then you will stare at your screen and wonder why your man-in-the-middle setup is not working. So let's go into settings, and within Wi-Fi we can see yes, it has been connected to our TP access point. Okay, cool. Then let's recap a little bit. IP forwarding enabled. Man-in-the-middle proxy has been set up. Man-in-the-middle setup has been set up. So now we should be able to observe the traffic of our smartphone, in Wireshark at least. Let's check if this one is working. So we open Wireshark. We select the USB to Ethernet adapter. And now let's create some web requests. We go into the incognito tab, and then let's open a web page like example.org. Example.org. So here we can see the request has been made, and within Wireshark over here we can also see, this request has been sniffed. Let's verify this. Here's a GET request regarding to example.org. Okay. We can also right click, follow TCP stream, and then we see the whole TCP stream, our GET request, and also the response which comes back from this one over here. Alright, nice. So now's the question, how can we forward this package to our BurpSuite, intercept and manipulate it? And the missing piece right now is our IP table rule. So if we go back into our BurpSuite over here, then we can see, okay, we've got it listen or set up on the interface, but we are not forwarding any package to this one right now. We would see this within the HTTP history. So under proxy, HTTP history, there will be our requests. If we would have, sniffed some right now. Let's establish this IP table rule and let's figure out if it's working. So we open a new terminal and we need root privileges for this one. Alright, first task done. Okay, so now let's take this chance and talk about this command once again. So we want to establish a new IP table rule, and therefore IP tables. The first thing is we have to select our table. We've got filtering, nut, and mangle. In our case, we want to switch out the IP addresses of a package. So we want to reroute this package. And this can be done within the table nut, the network address translation. Alright, next we want to append a new rule into this table. We can do this by inserting a capital A, and then we want to add a new pre-routing rule. And this means if the package arrives at the interface, we want to reroute it, not to the direct destination, to example.org. We want to reroute it to our BurpSuite. And so therefore we append a new pre-routing rule. There we go. Now, we do not want to forward every package. We only want to forward HTTP requests, which means only packages which are regarding to the type TCP. And this would also include a lot of other stuff like SSH, Telnet, FTP, and more. Therefore, also just limited on packages which has the destination port 80. So the port, destination port, is or has been set to 80. These are the type of packages we want to re-forward. We can do this by switching out the destination address of this package. And this can be done with this parameter -j dnut. So we want to switch the destination address instead of example.org to the destination 10.42.0.1 port 8080. This is where our BurpSuite is listening at right now. Alright, so this is the whole command. Reroute every package regarding to TCP port 80 and switch the destination address via dnut, destination network address translation, to whatever it is right now to our BurpSuite proxy. And this will mean every package that arrives at any interface, so at our USB to Ethernet adapter and also the NAT adapter of our Ubuntu VM. If these packages meet those requirements, they will be forwarded to the BurpSuite. We hit enter and we are good to go. We can also verify that this IP table rule now exists by typing in IP tables -v and capital L. And then I guess we also need to add the table where we want to list the existing rules right now. So our table is nut. There we go. Now we can see that's our IP table rule and yeah, it has been inserted over here. Okay, nice. Let's clear this one here. And now, if we now perform an HTTP request instead of going through the whole network, it should start at the BurpSuite. Let's verify this. So here's our smartphone, but this application or this request might has been cached. And therefore, what we need to do is we need to clear the history. Okay, nothing in there. And we also should close the tab. So let's simply make a new tab, new incognito tab. Okay. This should work right now. So we type in http example.org. And now we can see nothing happened because this site has been still cached. Maybe let's close this whole Chrome browser and opening it once again. Okay, so I have reopened this browser. Let's type it in http example.org. There we go. Now it's working. Before, the site simply has been cached and yet the smartphone is reusing the cached version instead of asking it once again. But now we can see example.org, but this is not the content of example.org. This is the content of our BurpSuite Community Edition. So that's nice because our setup works, but this is not something we want to have, right? If we close this one over here, we can see, or we cannot see the request over here. And also the interceptor doesn't have intercepted anything right now. The reason for this one is the BurpSuite is not running as an invisible proxy, which means we've got now a dead end at our BurpSuite. The BurpSuite is not re-forwarding these packages and therefore they just get terminated at the BurpSuite. So to enable invisible proxy, we need to go into proxy, options, and then within our interface over here, we need to click edit and then request handling. Yes. And there we have now this option support invisible proxy and also the hint only enable if we need this really. In our case, we need it because we want to re-forward or reroute these packages afterwards. So by enabling it and then observing it over here, we can see this invisible button or this invisible tag has now been checked. Now the BurpSuite is running as an invisible proxy. Let's open the smartphone here once again. Let's close this tab because it's still cached. Alright, let's open a new incognito tab. And now let's open http example.org once again. And we can see there was something flashing on our screen, and we can see some orange highlights over here. So within the proxy, the intercept button over here wants to tell us something. And if we go into this, we can now see that's the GET request the smartphone is making. It stops at the burp, and we can also observe that the web page over here is not loading because we have paused this request in our BurpSuite right now. If we hit the forward button, the request will be served to the original page, to example.org, and the response will come back to the smartphone. So if we open the smartphone, the screen once again, we can see, yes, we have now this page over here. Let's keep it in foreground that we can see it next time all the time. Alrighty, so the BurpSuite is working. Within HTTP history, we can now see the request that the smartphone has been made. Here we've got get example.org, and here we've got the response from the server. So the title is example domain. If we scroll down, we've got the text which is displayed over here. Nice. So how can we modify this package right now? Well, modifying the intercept has been already possible. So we have seen the intercept or the request stubs at our BurpSuite, and we could now modify this one over here the next time. But what's even more funny is modifying these responses over here, because that's the text that's being displayed on the smartphone. So how can we do this? The BurpSuite doesn't intercept responses which comes from the server in a default mode. So we have to tell the burp to do so. And we can do this by going into proxy, options, and then we find here intercept client requests. These are the rules which intercept client requests. We can also see by having this rule over here, the BurpSuite is not intercepting requests which are regarding to pictures. Otherwise, every picture request would stop at the burp and we have to forward it manually. This would be super annoying, therefore this is a default rule in the BurpSuite. Within intercept server responses, we can now define a new rule. So, first of all, we have to select this checkbox over here, and then we apply a new rule, which is an OR condition. So this means whatever is within our existing rule set over here, also now intercept responses which are regarding to, and now we have a lot of select options over here. And to fetch pretty all of them, I would suggest any header that matches in response matches this regular expressions. So this means if the response contains any header, then the response will pause at our BurpSuite. And this should affect, I guess, every response package right now, regarding to HTTP at least. Alright, let's apply this. Let's go back into intercept, and now let's do this once again. And so maybe let's try if the site hasn't been cached anymore. So let's simply repeat this request over here. If we click forward, then we can see, okay, it still has been cached because the web server is answering with not modified. If we hit forward, then we can see, okay, nothing happens anymore. Alright, therefore maybe let's also close this one here and reopen it. And now let's ask once again, http example.org. Alright. To avoid caching, we can also manipulate some headers over here. For example, user agent timestamps, things like this, so that the server doesn't recognize this device anymore. But for now, let's try it. We forward this one, and here we go. The server now thinks this is a new device, or the cache has been too old to provide a new content to this device. Here we have now the response from the server, and this also pauses at the BurpSuite. So let's go into this and let's modify this. Here we have, for example, example domain. And let's change this. Your device has been hacked. And now also here, maybe let's adjust this text over here. Ooh, that would be pretty bad, right? Okay, and now we can forward this request, and the smartphone thinks that this is the request the response the smartphone thinks that this is the response which comes from the server. So if you forward this one here, the smartphone is now displaying this amazing text. So yeah, your device has been hacked, and this would be pretty bad, right? So this is how we can tamper, inspect, modify, play with network requests, but just regarding to HTTP. And let's perform this for an HTTPS request. So let's see where the difference is in between those two protocols. And therefore, let's toggle the intercept to on, and then let's open https example.org. Now let's see what happens if you're opening HTTPS websites. So for now it doesn't seem to do anything, right? Also the BurpSuite doesn't intercept this request right now. So why? The reason for this is we are only forwarding packages that has the destination port 80. If we want to also man in the middle HTTPS traffic, we need to apply a different destination port. HTTPS is regarding to the destination port. Do you know this? Absolutely correct, no matter what you have answered right now. The destination port is 443. So if we go back into our IP table rule, we can simply search in our existing command by hitting the Ctrl R button and then typing IP tables and then hitting Ctrl R once again. Then we can browse through our history of our commands over here, which is a very nice feature. Then we can simply select this by using the upper right key button over here. So then we can see it transitions to our command over here. Alright, so now we are only forwarding HTTP requests. If we want to also have HTTPS, we now can simply add this new rule regarding to this destination port. Alright, if we now go into our view again, we can now see we have two entries in there regarding to destination port 80 and 443. And that's the amazing thing about this man-in-the-middle setup over here. So for example, if you want to add additional ports, SSH, but not Telnet, but still we want to have FTP, we can play around this and add those ports to single locations. We can also re-forward them to other proxies. For example, if you want to deal with Telnet or FTP and the BurpSuite is not able to handle those protocols, we can redirect them to another proxy, which is freaking awesome, right? Alrighty, so this setup, I mean, it's just amazing. And now by simply adding this rule once again, we are now also forwarding HTTPS traffic. If we close this one or minimize this one, I keep practicing this word and maybe at the end of this course I'm able to pronounce it. So now if you're opening this once again, and let's see what happens. Alright, nothing because it has been cached. So let's close this one over here. And you might think that's a little bit annoying, but this is what we have to deal if we analyze web traffic. We need to be sure, or we need to figure out what's happening. And if we do not intercept requests over here, this might be regarding to a cached application. And this can ruin your day if you're looking for errors in your setup over here, if this page simply just has been cached. And it's not reloading or re-asking, it's simply using the cache that it's stored on the device right now. Alright, so now let's open a new tab and then we can be sure that the cache has been cleared. There we go. HTTPS. So let's see, what's the difference here? Example.org. And there we go. We do see our dashboard appears over here. And the dashboard tells us the TLS connection for these web pages seems to be broken. So the client failed to negotiate a TLS connection. We've got App Measure, Google, Accounts, and also example.org. But here it says, receive fatal alert. So this is now the alert message we got over here. And this means we are having an endpoint which the device does not trust. The device has some certificates pre-installed on it. And these are the root certificates that makes our internet secure regarding to HTTPS. Now the device is facing a website that has not this root certificate on it. And therefore the device is throwing this error over here that this connection is not private anymore. So it might be a man-in-the-middle attack, or it might be a self-signed certificate that we do not trust right now. Don't worry too much about this. We will go into this in detail in the next chapter. There we talk about HTTPS, what a certificate means, and all the stuff. If we've got this window over here as a user, if we now accept this, then we are in a bad position if someone is attacking us right now. And so therefore, let's perform it over here to get in this bad position that you get familiar what this type of error message mean if you face this in the wild. Let's see. I guess we have to go into advanced. Yes, and here we can see proceed to example. But maybe, can we go back? Yes. What I would like to show you is the certificate. So within this arrow over here, this rectangle exclamation mark, no, a triangle, sorry, that's not a rectangle, this triangle exclamation mark. If you click on this one, we can click on details, and then we can say certificate information. And this is now the certificate that's provided to this client over here. And this certificate says it's from the organization Portswigger. Portswigger has not an official root certificate which is trusted by a client right now. So therefore the client says, okay, I do not know anything about Portswigger, so I'm not sure about if you really want to go further on this. If we now simply accept those error messages or those warnings, these are warnings, no error messages. So let's see how we can get rid of this one. Okay, that's pretty rough. There we go. Also this one. Okay. If we now click on advanced and proceed to example, then we can see the request will be made. This request over here, and if we click forward, we can also see the response. So if we now change this text over here, you still have been hacked, even through HTTPS requests. Then we can see the site, which is an HTTPS site and should be secured, is now providing our modified text. And this is because we have trusted and untrusted certificate. No, not this way. We have trusted and let's call it unknown certificate. Yeah, I guess that's the best way. Alright, so that's all for now. We have re-established our man-in-the-middle connection and we took a little dip into our HTTPS connections. In the next video, we will figure out what's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS connections and how we can apply modifications to the smartphone that we are also able to intercept HTTPS connections. Alrighty? Okay, so I'm looking forward to see you in the next section.